What's up guys, it's Mancloudt. Today I'm going to be going over one of the fundamentals of League and especially mid lane, map awareness. Not only is map awareness important for keeping yourself alive in lane, it can help you get kills by being the first to roam to a fight and help you stay focused on the actual state of the game, therefore helping you reduce autopiloting. There are plenty of things you can do to improve your map awareness quickly. Try keeping these tips in mind in your next game of League to stop dying to obvious ganks and improve your rotations. Now the first thing on my list is just simply increasing the size of your minimap. For how important the minimap is, I think the default setting for it is just too small. I've always had mine set to at least 75. It's increased the odds of me picking up on movement in the corner of my eye. For comparison, here's default, and here's 100. Second, make sure you're checking the minimap every uncontested CS. If this isn't possible, you want to at least check the minimap every 5 seconds. If you're in a lane where your opponent is playing really passively, you don't have much excuse to not be checking the minimap constantly. Just about every CS, every 1 to 2 CS, you want to be glancing at the minimap and looking for information. What you want to be looking for information are blind spots that might need filling with wards, the positioning of other lanes, and checking for missing laners. Things to look out for are Pyke and Thresh for bot lane support and stuff like Kled top lane. Number 3 is check to see where the enemy jungler started. When minions first meet in your lane, you shouldn't be looking at the minions, you should be looking at the lanes to see who shows up. Junglers almost always will get a leash in this meta, so looking to see who goes to the lane at what time can usually let you know where the enemy jungler starts. Sometimes junglers will solo their red, but most of the time they'll end up getting a leash. Right here we have an example of using the minimap to find out where the enemy jungler started. I have a matchup, but the matchup doesn't really matter right here of Sylas versus Ryze, but I'm not really focusing on the lane too much. My eyes are on the bot lane because Triss just showed, and unfortunately their Morgana was AFK at the start of this game, but Tristana showed right at the start of the lane, meaning they didn't leash bot. Now you might just say, it's a Jarvan, he always starts red, but for other junglers that it isn't so obvious, this is really useful information because you'll know where the Jarvan is likely to path to. If he isn't going to level 2 gank you, then he'll likely clear the bot side and you're going to need to put a new ward down on the bot side. Other people in the game are also looking at this, as you can see on the minimap. There are pings at the enemy red buff and danger pings on where Olaf is likely to be pathing. So knowing this information, I'd like to play towards the bot side of my lane at first to avoid a level 2 gank from Jarvan, and then decide where to go from there. So after thinking that I'm safe and that I'm not going to get ganked by Jarvan, I start to thin out my wave a little bit and look for another trade. I can test this CS and go in for a quick trade, and then Jarvan shows on the minimap at bot. The crab ward is a pretty common ward and is really useful because most junglers will clear the crab either second or third camp. So right here we end up seeing him, and I immediately shift my position in the lane towards the top side. What this does is it makes it really hard for the Jarvan to get a successful gank on you unless you severely mess up. So I keep playing on this side of the lane, and eventually the Ryze missteps. Probably he did this because Jarvan was nearby for him and he thought he could walk up. But I know that if I'm on this side of the lane, Jarvan can't do anything, so I just take the fight and go for a kill. Keep in mind, if this Ignite did not kill the Ryze, chasing him down to the bot side of my lane would be suicide, because we know that Jarvan's there. One of the biggest things you should be looking for when glancing at the minimap is the state of other lanes. Are they pushed in? Is your bot lane recalling? Is there support missing? If you're pushed up, for example, and both of your side lanes aren't, the odds of you being ganked just increase dramatically. Here's a good example of having a lapse in map awareness that could have been avoided by just a quick read of the game by glancing at my minimap. Right here I decided to fight LeBlanc and look for an all-in because I have stolen Pyke's ult. I go for the fight, and because I'm tunneled so hard on fighting, I don't notice that Shaco is actually done dragon. And after getting the kill, I immediately look to pressure my lead more and just shove my lane. If I had looked at my minimap right now, I would notice that Soraka's in base, first of all, and their bot lane is missing, and Dragon is down. What this means is Shaco and Pyke are both free to roam, and me pushing this up is actually pretty dangerous. What makes this even worse is the fact that I actually used my W to farm, so I don't have any defensive tools to actually deal with the Shaco that shows up. And then Pyke shows up as well, and I just immediately threw a 450 gold shutdown just because I didn't really look at my minimap. It's stuff like this that you always want to avoid. You want to make sure that you're not autopiloting, and you want to just like get a good read on the game to really snowball your advantages. One thing that'll probably help you out a lot in your games is making sure that you're putting thought into where you're warding. It's really easy to farm a minion wave, step over to the side, and drop a ward in the side brush, when this doesn't really provide that much value to you. What you want to look for is buffs that are coming up, such as red buff and blue buff, or objectives like Crab and Dragon and Rift Herald, and see where you want to play towards, and then put more thought into where you want to actually put the ward to help that objective. So say I'm laning and there's an important dragon coming up, or that is already up, like Infernal, and I have a pink ward. I would probably want to place my pink ward around here, here, or here. These wards are great to help your team move in safely and set up vision for the dragon. Another good example is, say that the enemy red buff is coming up soon and you have priority in your lane. Just dropping a ward here doesn't really help you at all. If you put a ward here, however, your jungler can walk through rivers safely, won't have to face check things, and can move with you from mid lane into the enemy red buff. If you're super far ahead, you could even drop a pink in a brush, like right here. But a regular ward is also fine. As a good rule of thumb, you want to make sure that you're dropping your first ward before 220, and anything after that should be a preemptive ward. You almost never want to do a reactive ward because that's a good way to lose value. That's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully these tips will help you improve your map awareness, help with your warding, and just in general dying to less ganks and helping you keep your leads going. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.